Good morning and welcome to Friday, the final day of the 2021 NCGIS conference. We're glad you're here. You are in the you're in the Redevelopment Commission, leading the way for community transformation using GIS to tell the story session with Alice Wilson. My name is Matthew McLam. I'll be moderating the session today. Just a couple of items before Alice gets started. Feel free to the right, you probably know by now, but join that chat, click that green chat icon and join the chat. Feel free to post any questions or comments in there. I'll keep an eye on that and we'll be reading those out to Alice at the conclusion of her presentation today. This session, along with all the other sessions, will be available on the NCGIS Conference YouTube channel. At the conclusion of the conference, we'll be working to get all those uploaded and communication will go out once they are made available. Again, I thank everyone for tuning in. We have a great day planned, and then some closing remarks at the end of the day at 1 o'clock today from Tim Johnson. So please be sure to stick around. And again, we thank everybody for attending. But with that said, and without delaying any further, Alice, I'll turn it over to you, and we look forward to your presentation.
All right, thanks, Matt. So thank you for attending. Hopefully I will get through this without messing up. I have messed up everything I've touched this week, so we'll give it fingers crossed anyway. So I was asked to present on how we are using GIS, and more particularly a story map to help a large area in the city of Newburn kind of transform into a better situation. So a little bit about Newburn. So it was founded in 1710, so it's pretty old. This picture here is our downtown area as it is today. It didn't look like this a long time ago. It used to was actually a boat harbor, and there was a lot of ports and shipping and stuff going on. It was more industrial than it is today. It is a birthplace of Pepsi-Cola, and Tryon Palace, and we have roughly about 30,000 people in the city limits. So what I want to talk about today is really the redevelopment area, this area in red here, which is downtown is right there. And so this is that area. And this area actually used to be, back in the day, the area for Newburn. This is where everything happened, all the businesses, all the community. This is where everybody wanted to live. That is not the case today. So back then, you can see there's some nice pictures. There's shops, everybody's hanging out. This is, houses, and you basically walk to your businesses and stuff. And this area actually used to be predominantly African-American. Matter of fact, the city of Newburn was predominantly African-American back in the earlier times. Even during the Civil War, free slaves would move to Newburn and kind of started an art kind of area, kind of like Asheboro, if you want to think about today. It was a really nice area. So unfortunately, in 1922, the city of Newburn suffered what's called the Great Fire. You can see there's a picture of it back then. Someone stood on one of the taller buildings and took pictures of it. You can see the aftermath. 25% of the city basically was burned, and over 1,000 homes were lost, including most of the African-American community. Many moved away because there were issues in rebuilding at that time. So they just decided that it was easier just to move to other parts of the community. So here's 5 Points today. In that area that I showed you the pictures of, that's 5 Points. You can see a lot of vacant lots. Actually, this billboard is no longer there. Hurricane Irene took that out. If you got to say something good about a hurricane, that's one thing you can say. Even that building back there, it's kind of hard to see, but it doesn't have a roof at that time, and it's collapsed and it's gone. But you can even see the businesses that are here that are still remaining. There's hardly any sidewalks, or what is sidewalks. They're in really bad shape, but there is a lot of vacant lots. So here's more information about the community. 47% of the whole area, of the lots in the area are vacant. So in other words, homes have been just demoed because they were in bad shape. Also, 90% of the active minimum housing cases are in the city versus 70% for the rest of the city. Over 20% of the police incidents in the last 5 years occur in this area. But the area only constitutes 2.4% of the total land area and 10% of the population. And you can see, I pulled up some demographics. There's several households with disabilities. There's several households with no vehicle access, and the median income for this area is only a little over 16,000, which is not much. So we, as a city, they've done several plans, so many names, same outcome. We've had lots of plans, lots of great ideas. We've had charrettes and stuff, brought the community in, asked them for their input, and unfortunately, not much has happened. But the area has been given different names. So in 2011, we had a Gateway Renaissance plan, and so it was known as the Gateway area. And lots of good ideas came out of that, and there's still some that we are working on today. But in 2014, the city was granted a $400,000 grant to do what's called a Choice Neighborhood Initiative. And so now it was known as the CNI area. So again, a different name, but same outcome. There were a lot of good ideas, but we were just having a hard time moving forward. Still good things came out of the CNI area. We had we won a URISA award for our story map, and I was going to show you quickly if I could get it up here. So we sold, when we did the CNI property, we realized there were a lot of vacant properties, and so we created this. I think this is the third iteration of the site where we sell unused property that the city owns. And there's links to the tax information, Google Maps, and there's a PDF flyer that we actually created. Go back to the PowerPoint. So good things have occurred. And beyond that, there's other things that are happening as well. But we didn't have really the teeth to do a lot of things that we wanted to do. So the city, in 2018, right before Hurricane Florence hit, enacted what's called the Redevelopment Commission. And that gave us more police authority, or general authority to do some things that we otherwise couldn't have. We classified this according to general statutes. If you have what's known as a blighted area, you can have the power of eminent domain. And so there's a link there to how to get to the site where you can get all the information you want to. So the commission has been meeting for the last couple of years, and we've met with the citizens in the area to get good information. So are we telling the same old story because we've had meetings with these people before, or are we doing a really good rewrite? And so we had one of the board meetings that we had, one of the commissioners was having a hard time understanding so the plan has goals and all that kind of information in it. And so we decided we were going to create, or I decided we would do a story map to tell the story. The original story map required that you did a lot of scrolling, which was really tedious. And I wanted to use tabs, but with new story maps, you can't really do that as you can in the old story maps, but I wanted to use a newer version. So there's what's called now a collections app, where you can bring in separate story maps and join them together into one story map. You can also add apps and other documentation. And there's a link down there if you want to learn more about that. So again, the same old story. Are we going to do this, or are we going to actually get something accomplished? We wanted to communicate. If we were having a hard time communicating with the commissioners in the Redevelopment Commission, how are we going to explain it to the citizens? And not everyone can come to the meetings, especially now with COVID going on. How can we provide information that they can access? So we created this story map, and I'll show you, this is the collector. You can see it's called the collection. And these are basically individual story maps inside that collection. You can add apps and other information. And I wanted it to be easy to navigate, so you can see each story map is at the top. You can access that. And also, and I will say some of my maps are not going to work because we've had portal issues all week long. So, but we'll get through what we can. But there's also navigation tools that you can jump to different aspects of the story maps. If you want to see what gives the city the authority to do that, you can actually click on that and see that. And then you can see my map is down. But you can notice when I scroll through, it actually jumps through the different sites. So this makes it easier. And if a person's looking for specific information, like the goals and objective. What are the goals and objectives? There's a really good video here. This is Jamari Wallace, who's on the commission. He's also the principal of the West Newburn High School. And he actually was on Ellen DeGeneres' show not too long ago, where he was going out for his students that graduated and didn't get to have a graduation. He went and placed signs and took pictures with all his students that graduated. So he's a pretty cool guy. So if you get a chance, take a look at that. But we also wanted to explain, it's nice to have all these, a plan has lots of words. We also wanted to paint a pretty picture. So like goal 1 is improve overall appearance. So we have this picture of, on the left-hand side, this is how Avenue or 3rd Avenue used to look. You can see it's really narrow. There's no sidewalks for the citizens to walk on. You can see the path where people walk. Their hospital is actually there to the left, and other businesses are accessed through the left. A lot of vegetation going on. So this is how it looks today. You can see we got sidewalks. The road has been widened. There's actually parking down here where the citizens can park. So this is kind of a goal. This is what we want to see. And you can scroll through. We've got other policies, and we've got pictures attached to them, and we've broken them out. And again, you can navigate at the top here if we want to see. So one of the things is flood mitigation. So these are actually photographs in the community, and we can share and kind of explain what each goal is. And then, so again, we've got the transportation story, and this is downtown Newburn. Used to have a trolley that goes through there. If anybody's been to the community theater, that's the building right there. And there's our city hall. It doesn't look like this today, unfortunately. So again, you've got the navigation tabs, and you can scroll through the different parts of the plan. And then we also have zoning proposed changes. You can see what changes. Instead of having to scroll, you can just tab on, what's related to parking and that kind of stuff. Let me see, I'm going to move this over here. And then looking at maps and general information, just the demographics. Again, my maps are down right now, but we've got other maps. Like if they wanted to look at a zoning map, they could pop that out and look at that information. General land use map, again, they could do that. And then lastly, I think this is really key for the area. Moving forward, we want to, get that return on investment. And they've invested their time, they've invested their sweat for this area. How do we showcase what's been going on? So again, we've got these tabs. So cleanup efforts, we've had efforts where Public Works have gone out and cleaned up some of the things, and they'll bring a big dumpster out there and place it, and it usually gets filled up pretty well. The citizens will come the night before and fill that up. So we show we're out there, we're working. We created a Survey 123 app. We work with a local company to go out for free and pick up junk cars. That's a big issue in the neighborhood. So they can click on this and fill out the information, and we'll go out and pick up vehicles. We also have just created this residential inspection program. I didn't come up with this name right. It just doesn't sound right, but anyway, that's what it is. But that gives us to go and offer. There's a lot of, beyond the vacant property, there's a lot of resident property that's rental. And so we can go in there and look at that and make sure that the landlords are keeping the property up. And if not, we can enforce that they do. And then take a look at development projects. So again, we can go through the maps, maybe work or not. Created another story map inside of this that will work to showcase projects that are being done within the community. And if you scroll over any of the buttons, it tells you what's going on. So this is one of the areas that cleaned up. You can see how weedy it is, and now it's all cleaned up and looking a lot better. There's some other commercial properties where we've cleaned up, and then there's the plan itself. Again, this is a house that was in bad shape, and we've got a citizen that's cleaning it up and fixing it up. So, the return on investment, I think, is really important to showcase. So beyond that, we also are using that from that plan. Actually, we're working on resiliency efforts. That area floods quite a bit. So we've teamed up with some other agencies, Moffitt and Nickel, UNCW, which I think presented yesterday, to kind of help this area that has a lot of vulnerability to it. And then looking forward, using GIS from Hurricane Florence, we had mapped out all the drainage issues and storm water issues that we had. So we had to provide this information to FEMA. So we thought, well, we'll take it a step forward in this area. This is part of the redevelopment area. We've got all these properties that flood, and we know they flood. So and some of them, a majority of them we own. So we thought, let's make an amenity out of it. And so using GIS, we're working with a company to use this for stormwater management, which will help the flooding issues and take the water off of the road, which is one of the goals. And also have an amenity a park where the citizens can go and walk through. And I think I talked pretty fast, but I'll be glad to take any questions that you might have.
Yes. Hello. Great presentation, Alice. And I had to change my background to support Newburn. And
there you go.
All right. So let me check out the chat here for you. Rachel Patterson said, "Hi, Alice."
Hey, Rachel.
Michelle Babson said, "Good morning." Stephanie Edwards said, "Alice, you've done a fantastic job bringing these efforts to life and supporting a new level of effort, and it has gotten her wheels turning." And Jackie Dillon also said, "This looks great. Good job, Alice." And yes, attendees, if there are questions, please feel free to put those into the chat, and I'll make sure that Alice gets those.
Thanks. Yeah, we really encourage people to go and look at that story map collection. I had not heard of it before. So there's again, the link, but you can put different, you can create multiple story maps into one collection. You can put other apps. And I think there's, you have other than the tabs, you can do just like a scroll through kind of thing, but it's a really good site. So I would encourage people to go and check it out. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, it looks very good. Let's see. Josh Nord said, "Great job as always, Alice." Kat, great job. Amanda Patton, great, awesome job. Story maps are great. I love to see other people using them.
Yeah, they are great.
Yeah. Nancy Ross, thanks, Alice. This will help in a project she's working on now. Very well done. Rachel Patterson asked, "Do you like the new collection better?"
I do. I wanted to use tabs. Like I said, we had one. I had the original one I created. You just had to scroll through. I think it was called a Cascade, and you just had to scroll through everything to get to a certain thing, a certain feature or whatever. And a lot of people, I think, got bored. I know I got bored with it, and so I actually went on Twitter. I follow several Esri groups, and there was an Esri. I think he's a story map person, was on there, and I put the question out there, and he responded and told me about collections, and I found it, and I was in love. So
Very good. Mark Darwin said, "What has been the community response from the Story Maps project? Have you gotten feedback from them?"
Well, there's so much from the story maps, but I think they've really seen the cleanup efforts. Again, the really, I think, important goal is the return on investment. That aspect of it, they enjoy the cleanup. It's funny to see when they go out there and clean up a certain area, that you'll notice that the homeowners that are there will keep that area pretty well clean. So we've done several areas, and we go back and look at the area before, it would just return back to the same old way with trash in the streets. And now that we've gone in and cleaned up a lot of vegetation, and provided trash pickup and stuff like that, they keep it clean, which is a big help. So.
Right. Let's see.
I think also when like some of the houses that are, I showed a picture of one of the houses that are being fixed up. I think people are realizing that the city is actually really doing something now, and they can see that it's occurring, and they're wanting to participate in.
That's right. Yeah, it's shows them what can be done. They can see the change that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we had all these plans before, and we promised them we were going to do all these things, and not that we didn't want to, not that we didn't have the intention, we just didn't have the teeth until the redevelopment commission was kind of formed. That gave us more authority to do the things that we need to.
Angelia said, how difficult was it to use the collections compared to story maps with tabs? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, you just do separate story maps, so it really wasn't hard at all. It actually made it easier because I can kind of, I guess you talk about making a storyboard kind of thing. So we had the plan, and I just opened up the plan and I took the different components out. And then you can actually just, I'm not in edit mode, but you can actually rearrange these any way you want to. And reading documentation, you don't have to just have story maps. You can have apps, or you can have like PDFs or other documentation you can bring into it. So it kind of helped, like you said, telling a story. You think about a story, it has different chapters. So these are the chapters of our story that we're trying to tell.
Good. Hannah asked, how large is the subject area?
Our acres, I know it's like 2.4% of the city, and the city is like 30 square miles. So it's probably about 600 or 700 acres. So it's a pretty good size area.
Right.
And it floods a lot. So that's one of the problems that we have. So.
Right. Let's see here. Stephanie asked, how much time do you estimate it's taken to create what you've shown today, the collection?
The collection actually part didn't take very long at all to do. It was I just took the plan, the redevelopment plan that exists, and then, like with any plan you're reading, it's got a lot of words, and then every once in a while there's a pretty picture in there kind of thing. So this is the actual plan. And so I just broke it out by section, and then just took the verbiage and the words, because I didn't want to reinvent the wheel, and just basically cut and paste the words that were there. I might have embellished some of them, but for the most part, I just took the plan and created a story map out of it.
Mm-hmm. And another question was, how does this display on mobile devices? Have you tried it on a mobile device? Does it resize, or?
I have not tried it on a mobile device, but I will say, like our for sale site that we did, I've redone that a couple of times, as I've noticed, as Esri redoes some of their apps. Like, this is a story map,
right,
to make it a little bit more user friendly. The other one was really kind of cumbersome, and this one is nice because it'll move around to the different sites, and you can zoom out and see what's around it and kind of stuff. So.
Right. Yeah, usually with their new things, they usually make them responsive to mobile devices. But
yeah, it does have the capability to go, and you can view it on different formats. So.
Okay, very good. Let's see. Kat Clifton asked, can story maps be used in multiple collections?
Yeah, I would think so, because when you create a story, so when you're in story maps, you have, if you're opening up story maps, every story map, you have a tab for stories and one for collections. So the stories stay the same, they're still separate, but the collections, you can add as many stories to that collection, and you can, yes, add multiple stories to multiple collections.
Right. Very good. Let's see. Blake said, great example of integration of GIS and planning efforts. I agree. Yeah, it's great to see how GIS, we've seen this throughout the conference, I think, how GIS can touch so many different departments, and not only within the government environment, but, the private sector and education, and how it can be used. So it's great to see its uses across many different departments within local government.
Great.
Anybody else has any questions? Feel free. We have a few more minutes left. Just as a recap, this presentation, along with all the other presentations, you can replay it for the duration of the conference. I know we're in the last day, but you can go back and replay it. Also, if all the presentations will be available, so if you didn't get in at the beginning, you'd like to rewatch this or like to get some more information to see the great work that's been done there in Newburn, feel free to check out the YouTube channel, the NCGIS Conference YouTube channel. All the presentations will be made available. Hannah asked, was eminent domain used?
We have used it a couple of places. There are some rental properties that had out-of-state landlords, and they were in really, really bad shape. And so one of the goals in the plan itself is to make find bigger areas and work with other developers to provide housing. And so, yeah, we have taken some properties that were in really bad shape, and we haven't utilized them yet, but the plan is to, once we get so many properties, have like a housing project kind of thing where we can have better housing. Housing seems to be the biggest issue. As I said, 47% of the properties are vacant. So the need for housing in that area is really, really high.
Right. I have another question. Juan Garcia said, great work. Ms. Wilson, have you tried the same information using ArcGIS solutions for local governments?
I have not. Yeah, I haven't.
Yep. Yeah, it's do have some good tools out there through that, and I do like the use of the collection. This is really great. I've never seen it used this way, and it looks, very well done. And I'll just echo what everyone said. Great work, Alice, as always. Great presentation, and I'm sure if people have questions, they can reach out and to Alice and see how she may have done things. Hannah did have a planning question. She said, does Newburn have plans to keep housing units affordable? Yes,
that's a big key. So this area is pretty, as you saw, the minimum household income is pretty low. So a lot of citizens that remain have been there for, multiple generations. And so they want to stay, but they don't have a lot of money. So yeah, that is definitely key. We're even the Redevelopment Commission, one of the things they're thinking about doing is having rental property themselves that they control. And so it will be, very affordable for citizens to. And if we have to displace, like one of the concerns they had is if we find a landlord that is not doing a very good job, and we, take over that property, we don't want to displace the people that are living there. So we're trying to renovate some houses that have been vacated so that we can have a place for them to live while their house is being renovated.
Good. We have Sam asks, do you know of any other cities in North Carolina that are doing something like this, where this is being done? Or
well, I mean, it's a general statute that you have that authority. So I don't know off the top of my head, but I know Newburn is not reinventing the wheel, that there are redevelopment commissions. I know Durham had a redevelopment commission a long time ago that fixed up certain areas, like older parts of North Durham. So yeah, it's been done before. Yeah, but like I said, the redevelopment, we have lots of great plans, but the redevelopment commission just gives you that teeth and that power and authority to do the actual work.
Right. Well, very good. And thanks again, Alice. I encourage everyone to go look. There's some new sessions starting in just a moment. So go and check those out. And also be sure to tune in at 1 o'clock for the closing session. It only lasts about 15 minutes. And then be back at it, have the rest of your Friday afternoon available. But again, thank you so much for everybody attending. And again, thanks, Alice, for the great presentation and great work that you're doing.